Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm BS here. This is the first video on my second channel. So this second channel is basically just for like things I want to do, but I don't really think match to the content I want to make on my first channel. Oh, Best Buy computer ads, please go away. But so I'm ranking the Steve Saga characters because I actually I did this once, but I wanted to do it on like camera. So I'm gonna get right into it. SS, which is like the highest rank. I'm actually gonna change this a little bit, so I'll cut right back. Just gonna go FF. Alright, there we go. So the ranks we have here, welcome back. Oh, more computer ads. Alright, we have God rank, SS, S, A, B, C, D, E, F, and FF. I don't know why I picked those not once. I kind of just put God rank because I feel like some characters on here deserve to be in that rank. Like, first of all, I'm gonna put God Steve up there because, you know, God Steve is God Steve. And he quite literally set back whoever knows how many dimensions. Like, we've been to what, 3 dimensions? And he set back all of them to, like, to a point in time from, like, years ago. So I'm gonna put him up there. I'm sorry if I kind of sound like a nerd to this series after watching this video. I really watched this when I was younger, and I want to make a tier list about this, or I want to do this tier list. And if a lot of these don't quite make sense of why I'm putting them there, I'll try to explain to my best. But you'd actually have to like kind of watch the series to understand like where these power levels are coming from, like what videos and all. But a lot of them could probably happen with like a YouTube search, like Diamond Steve. You could probably figure out who that is by searching it on YouTube. Like, you search up Diamond Steve favor my saber, you'll probably figure it out. But we're just gonna get started. God Steve, he was the he basically started the space saga, and I'm gonna put him up there because he literally set back the entire universe. Next, I'm gonna put Origin Steve also in God rank because, I mean, he created the entire world that we were like in the entire time, and he created all the Steves. So I think he deserves to be in the God rank. And this is a little bit of an unpopular opinion. I mean, not like super unpopular, but you know, a little bit. Alex is, I'd say, as powerful as Origin Steve. Because when Origin Steve made Alex, he split himself completely in two and split his power completely in two. So they should be the same power level. Now, according to that, Reality Steve is more powerful than both of them. Now, hear me out, because Galaxy Steve was going crazy, and he split himself. We don't know how much he split himself, like how much power he gave his creation, but he gave some of this creation he made, being Illusion Steve, power. So that puts him like, let's say he gave him like 1% power. He then took all of Alex's power, which like makes him, let's say Alex is like 50% power, since like him and her are like 50%. That puts him at 53 or 51 or whatever percent I said for the base. So that puts Illusion Steve at higher than them two by like 1 or 2%. And then he absorbs the rest of Galaxy Steve, which I'm also going to put Galaxy Steve up here because Galaxy Steve, when he combusted and all that, he created the black hole, and that was like a whole world on its own, and it reversed everything and all that. And that's kind of like creating a world, because there was a whole world inside of that black hole. Then We're gonna go with Void Steve. Following that logic, Void Steve should technically also be on God rank. But I feel like I feel like I should probably move like some of these guys down. Cause like that's a lot of people in God rank. I feel like these 5 should be in God rank and these 2 should be down here. Cause he did create a world, yes. But wait a minute, what? Wait. I just got hit with the fact that when he created the black hole, he was only half of what his power is. Like, these 2 together make up a full Galaxy Steve, and that should be very, very, very powerful. And if we're going off the most powerful point in time... Actually, if we're going off the most powerful point in time, then Alex should be, like, actually right here. Reality should be up here still, and Illusion should be behind Reality. Galaxy should be, like... not as powerful as Illusion. I think I think I'm gonna leave it like this. But I think Void Steve could like absorb more power in his time. Like, and in Void Steve's prime, he did have Galaxy Steve inside of him. But at the same time, Galaxy Steve beat Void Steve in the end, so I'm gonna put him like that. And then Time and Elemental, I guess, because I mean they're in the Rainbow Quest right now, so I guess we'll do that. I'm gonna put... He was already 50% and he split himself again. Oh, when did I move Memory? Oops. I meant to move Time Steve, not not Memory Steve. I really don't know which one was created first. Whether it was Time or Elemental Steve, or if they were created at the same time. Because if they were created at the same time, then they're equal. But if like Galaxy Steve created Time Steve and then Elemental Steve, he split himself with Void Steve and then he split himself with this guy. So this is only like 25%, and then this would be like 50 or 12.5. So I'm gonna put it like this because I think Time Steve he can control time. He's crazy. He does some crazy stuff. And then next I'm gonna put the hero Rainbow Steve. I think at one point in time... Wait, no, I want to say that he was probably more powerful than those 2 at one point. But we never saw him at, like, his full power. And Nightmare Steve beat Rainbow Steve so much. Like, it was just a constant, I'm beating you, I'm beating you, I'm beating. There's no way that Rainbow Steve, like, ever won. So I'm gonna put Nightmare Steve more powerful than Nightmare, or Rainbow Steve less powerful than Nightmare. Then we're gonna put the Overseer? Alright. This is a weird one, because we know that Blue Steves get more powerful over time, and he is the first Elder Blue Steve. And if that's so, he's older than him. And I feel like that would make him automatically more powerful. So I'm gonna put him here, above Galaxy Steve. And then the base Steves, I'm probably gonna put him like C. Like Green Steve, Blue Steve, Red Steve. Maybe C. Maybe I'll move them down later. But right now I'm gonna leave them in C. Purple Steve, I'd argue, were weaker than the base. But Yellow Steve, I think we're stronger. Saber himself from the Steve Saga. If we're going off most powerful... Okay, what versions of Saber do we have here? We have Shadow Saber, Saber in Space, and Fake Saber. Well, Fake Saber is literally just a chicken. We're just gonna try to get them all beside each other. Alright, oh, Galaxy Saber. Alright, there we go. We're just going off these guys, and we're going off most powerful. he was Ultra Saber for a while, and that's not on this tier list. So I'm gonna put him, since there's no visual change, so they didn't put him on here. But he was Ultra Saber and had Rainbow Steve and Light Steve's power, but he couldn't use them. So if we're going off most powerful, I think he's worse than Rainbow Steve, but on that level, like on that S level. Then we're gonna go with Galaxy Saber. He couldn't control his power. He could fly, but he couldn't control the power very well. But he did hold off for. I'm gonna say he was just under Void Steve because he did hold off against Void Steve. I don't know if that's. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. If we're going off top powers and like ever, then I'm gonna go like that. And then we're gonna go Ultra Steve. Crazy, bro. Ultra Steve was just insane. Actually, I'd argue he was more powerful. And then with that, I'm gonna go Chaos Steve too, because Chaos Steve is crazy. These two were all kind of just crazy characters. The original time, the second time, I honestly can't remember. I remember Dark Steve coming back and all that, but I don't really remember what happened with Chaos Steve there. Then we're gonna go with the Reverse Steve. That's a kind of a counter to Rainbow. Where did Reverse Steve come from? He wasn't. Never really explained that, but I think he's. I'm gonna say that because he did. I mean, if we're going off max power here, I guess, because he sucked Rainbow Steve as his power, and I'd argue that was probably at Rainbow Steve's prime. So I'm gonna put him here. Faceless. He just got wiped out by Elemental Steve. But he was not. I'm gonna put him here, and with that, I'm gonna put Ghost Steve because Ghost Steve and him were kind of just like the same thing, or like they both lived in the catacombs and all that. But I'm gonna argue that Faceless was more powerful. Yeah, never mind. That's not an argument. That's kind of just fact. And then I'm gonna put him. He's more powerful. The Elder Blues are way powerful. Get Faceless. Get out of here, you little. Dark Steve. He was created by Nightmare Steve, but was able to resurrect himself. I'm gonna say he was stronger than Saber and Rainbow Steve. No, wait, yeah. If we're going off Prime, he's going here. Then Light Steve, he was less powerful than Dark Steve, 100%. Because the only way they could fight, like the only way these two were on the same level, is when Chaos Steve and Ultra Steve fought, when they absorbed half of Rainbow Steve, or they used Rainbow Stone. Then Hypno Steve. Look, I'm very biased. Hypno Steve was one of my favorite characters like ever. Like I just loved him. He was really cool in Steve Saga Origins. He was really cool in the Steve Saga, and in like not the reboot, like the bringing back of the Steve Saga after the canon ending. So I'm gonna put him here just out of love for the character. Plague Steve, I don't think he was that powerful. He was. We don't even know where he came from. But I'm gonna put him less than Ghost Steve. Positive and Negative Steve. They were at least more powerful than Rainbow Steve, yeah, they were, because they killed Rainbow Steve. Yeah, they killed Rainbow Steve. They defeated him. Actually, I'm gonna say on their own they were not as powerful as Rainbow Steve, because they didn't kill him until they merged into Infinity. So I'm gonna put him like here. Then Diamond, Emerald, and Gold Steve. I hate these guys. They're just so. Emerald were definitely the most powerful though. They were just so annoying. And then the Scientist, they're just smart. They're not that good. They're just smart. Space Puff. We'll leave him. Memory Steve, he could just wipe memories, which was when I did this last, like I've done this before, I just didn't record it or anything. I did think about the fact that he was able to wipe Saber's memory, and Saber is not from that world. So I'd argue he has like an otherworldly power, along with like Void Steve and Nightmare and Galaxy Steve. But Nightmare Steve also had his own dimension, and so did Reverse Steve. So I'm gonna put him like here. So that's like halfway done probably. The Great Librarian. He did move an entire library with all of the knowledge in the universe into a different dimension and held it there for years. So I'm gonna put him like here, B tier. I don't think he was like these guys level. Demon Steve, I think he had a lot more potential and power than it was ever shown. But I never saw that power, so I'd put him. No, he's definitely stronger than like a Red Steve. And then these guys are just. If this is the Red Steve from that village, oh, I hate that man. That man really made me mad. But these three, they're not strong. I'd argue they're around the same as a Gold, Diamond, and Emerald. These guys were weaker than them, definitely, because they had nothing. They like were just players without Saber's knowledge of all that. Shadow Steve, is Shadow Steve on here? Shadow Steve is. He beat Rainbow Steve. So he's at least here. That's what all I'm gonna say. He was at least here. I might even put him in front of Nightmare Steve because of just he defeated a lot of people. And like he killed Light Steve, but I'm just gonna put him above Rainbow. Just to like try to, I don't think he was like that powerful, but he was a lot more powerful than Dark Steve. 100%. I'd even put him down here, like these two down here, just because of like Shadow Steve is better than them, but they'd definitely be like up here. And then the Elspike, okay, look. He never had like crazy powers like Saber ever got, like the rainbow he just had rainbow wings. He didn't have like he wasn't Rainbow Saber or like Light Saber or whatever Saber turned into at all those times, like Ultra Saber and all that. He was just Lucas. And Lucas in space, he does survive a lot, which is a very good point, but I don't think he's that strong. Shadow Saber, I think, was honestly like down here. He literally like Shadow Steve like had all that potential when he was Shadow Steve, but when he turned into Shadow Saber, that was just so useless. It made him so weak. It made him to a point where a sword can hurt him. Then Professor Red, I'm gonna say was stronger than a Red Steve, but I don't think he was stronger than a Blue Steve. And then Elder Blue, this guy was, oh man, he was crazy. I remember that little arc in Steve Saga Origins. He was the one that came from like the Blue Tulip or whatever, that they needed to heal Blue Steve, and then it made him go crazy or whatever. I think he was more powerful than Dark Steve, honestly. I am getting called on Discord. I'm recording right now, mister. I can't pick up a phone call. Okay, these guys were just all throwaway characters, if I'm being honest. The Elder Guardian was probably the best of them, but they were all just throwaway characters. All of these guys. Oh my, stop calling me! Moon Steve, throwaway character. Stronger than the Scientist, though. Yellow King, I'm gonna put here, because he wasn't that strong, but I don't think he was weak. Or actually, I think the age or whatever really got to him and made him really weak. The Guardian, I don't honestly know where to put him, because he had like some feats of power, but he couldn't get out of the spirit world for super long in like the original Steve Saga. So I'm gonna put him like mid tier, mid A. Fake Saber. Yeah. Yeah, fake Lucas was not better than real Lucas. Sorry, have to say it. Parasite, down here, definitely. The Parasite and the Moon Steves definitely get above scientists because they did kill the scientists. Saber in space. Oh man, I'm just gonna say he has kind of just been like floating around and just letting live and let living. But I think he was better than like. I think I'm gonna put him like better than the Yellow King. And then Space Puff. I mean, it would make sense to put him here because that's where like the rest of them. But he kind of is a. He's not like a one episode throwaway character though. He's kind of just like a joke that they can always go back to. Or they could put him here. And I think that's really all that is to be said. I think that's really all that there is to be said. Yeah, that's all that there is to be said for Les Saber. One thing to be mentioned is that characters with Steve or SSO attached are there's no other counterpart in anything other than Steve Saga Origins. You need to be. Yeah, okay, I don't want to read. But that's gonna call it here because that's all of them. So again, God tier, Space Puff, God Steve, Origin Steve, Alex, Reality Steve, Illusion Steve, SS, Overseer, Galaxy Steve, Void Steve, Hypno Steve, and Galaxy Saber. S, like just S tier, the third highest. Ultra Steve, Chaos Steve, Time Steve, Elemental Steve, Reverse Steve, Nightmare Steve, Memory Steve, Infinity Steve, Shadow Steve, Rainbow Steve, Saber, A tier, Elder Blue, Steve Saga Origin, Dark Steve, Light Steve, Elder Blue Steve, not to be confused with Elder Blue. This guy was evil, but Elder Blues are not evil most of the time, I don't think. Faceless, Guardian, Ghost Steve, Plague Steve, Negative Steve, and Positive Steve. B tier, there is Yellow Steve, Great Librarian, Demon Steve, Lucas in Space. S tier, or C tier, oh my, C tier, Blue Steve, Red Professor Red, Red Steve, Green Steve, Saber in Space, Yellow King. D tier, Purple Steve, Fake Saber, the L Spike, Fake Lucas. E tier, Emerald Steve, Diamond Steve, Gold Steve, Infected Red, or not infected, Mixed Red Steve, Mixed Green Steve, Mixed Blue Steve, Shadow Saber. F tier, Moon Steve, the Parasite, and the Scientist. And then FF, Elder Guardian. These guys are all just throwaway characters. Iron Golem, Skeleton King, Sea Guardian, King Pig, and Zombie Pigman. I think these guys were all just throwaway characters, but they did serve a greater purpose in the show. So that's gonna call it for this video here on my. This is the first video on my second channel where I kind of just upload whatever I want. That isn't really like for my main channel. But link to my main channel in the description down below in case you wanted to check that out. Have a safe and fantastic rest of your day. Leave like on this channel because yes.